Hello, everyone. Life is unpredictable. People walk in and out, circumstances change, and sometimes we find ourselves at a crossroads where someone's absence feels louder than their presence ever did. And in those moments, we're often told, go no contact, ignore them, disappear. But let's be real. Does silence make you powerful? Or does it make you a prisoner of the very thing you're trying to escape? Let me tell you something. No contact isn't weak. But what's even stronger? Mastery over yourself. No contact should not be about running away. It should be about rising up. Instead of just cutting someone off, here's what you need to do. Sure, here's an expanded version of Upgrade, Don't Escape in Priyanka Chopra's bold, empowering style. When people go through a tough phase, especially after a breakup, rejection, or any personal setback, the most common advice they get is to go no contact. Cut them off, disappear, make them wonder. But let's be real. Does that really work? Or does it just leave you stuck in the same cycle, waiting for some kind of reaction? The truth is, simply walking away isn't enough. Transformation is the real power. It's not about escaping, it's about upgrading. You see, disappearing doesn't make you stronger. It just makes you invisible. And why would you ever want to be invisible? You weren't made to shrink. You weren't made to run. You were made to evolve, to elevate, to step into the best version of yourself. And that version, she isn't sitting in a room, scrolling through old memories, waiting for someone to realize what they lost. No, she's out there becoming something so incredible that the past starts looking like just a stepping stone. When something shakes your life, don't waste time trying to erase its existence. Instead, let it fuel you. Let it push you towards a version of yourself that even you haven't met yet. You don't need to escape a situation. You need to grow beyond it. And growth isn't quiet. Growth is loud. Growth is powerful. It shows up in the way you carry yourself, in the way you walk into a room, in the way people see you and realize, damn, she's different. So what does this upgrade look like? It looks like working on yourself so deeply that you no longer recognize the person who once cried over things that didn't deserve her tears. It's waking up every day with purpose, investing in yourself, whether it's through your career, your body, or your mind. It's learning a new skill, taking that class, building that business, hitting the gym, traveling to a new place. Not because you need a distraction, but because you deserve a life that feels exciting again. A lot of people think that cutting someone off is the final answer. But real closure doesn't come from silence. It comes from success. Not just success in the way the world sees it, but success in the way you feel it. In your energy, in your peace, in the way you don't flinch when you hear their name anymore, because you're so busy creating, building, and thriving that what used to matter just doesn't anymore. That's the real win. And let's be clear. This isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's not about making them regret. It's about making yourself proud. It's about looking in the mirror and knowing that you did not let pain define you. You let it refine you. You took the hurt, the confusion, the loss, and you turned it into something powerful. That's what an upgrade is. It's not an escape. It's a rebirth. So don't run. Don't hide. Don't make your absence the loudest thing about you. Make your evolution so undeniable that your presence becomes the loudest statement you'll ever make. Making your presence felt differently means taking control of the energy you bring into every space you enter. It's not about seeking attention. It's about commanding respect and recognition without uttering a single word about your past. Too often, we think that silence or withdrawing from certain people or situations will create an impact. But in truth, silence is only powerful when it's used with purpose. What really creates an impact is the energy you project and how you show up in the world. It's about stepping into your own light so brightly that it makes others see you for who you truly are. Unstoppable, unapologetic, and confident in every single way. You don't have to scream or shout to be noticed. Your presence should be felt through the way you walk into a room, through your body language, through the conviction in your voice when you speak, and the way you handle challenges. It's about embodying your worth, regardless of who is watching. Too often we make the mistake of shrinking ourselves to fit into someone else's idea of what we should be or what we should do, especially when we feel neglected or unappreciated. But when you understand the power of your presence, you realize that you don't need to beg for attention. You don't need validation from anyone else. You simply need to show up as the most authentic version of yourself, and the world will have no choice but to take notice. The true strength lies in learning how to impact a room without needing to assert your dominance. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. You don't need to explain yourself. Your value isn't tied to others' opinions or approval. It's something that radiates from the inside out. You command attention not through words or drama, but through your authenticity. When you walk in, people can feel the shift. They notice that you're not playing by the same rules anymore. You are not the person who gets stuck in cycles of negativity or plays games to keep others around. You are the one who moves forward with purpose and passion, and that is magnetic. Your energy speaks volumes. There's a profound impact in the way you present yourself to the world through your choices, the way you dress, the way you speak, and the way you carry yourself. You don't need to announce that you've changed. You simply need to embody it in everything you do. People will notice when you're no longer settling for less than you deserve. They'll feel it when you stop looking for validation and start owning your worth. You begin to shift not just your own narrative, but how others perceive you. The power of your presence isn't about announcing who you are, it's about living it out loud. And here's the beauty of it. When you start showing up differently, you stop needing external approval. You stop waiting for someone to see your worth because you already know it. The way you live, the way you carry yourself, and the way you choose to rise above any challenges become your statement. Your success isn't dependent on other people's recognition. It is woven into your everyday actions. And it's powerful because you are living it authentically and you're doing it without needing anyone else's permission. It's an internal transformation that becomes undeniable in your external world. To make your presence felt differently is to stop living for the moment of approval, but instead to live for the feeling of internal peace and fulfillment. It's about redefining your own worth and not needing anyone to validate it. The world begins to shift because you no longer look for answers outside of yourself. You begin to trust your own path, trust your own decisions, and trust your own vision. And when you do that, the world will begin to listen. Your presence will become a force in itself. A quiet force that moves mountains without anyone needing to hear a single word. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. When people face heartbreak, betrayal, or any deep emotional wound, the instinct is often to shut down, to block, to run, to pretend it never happened. That's what the world teaches us. Cut them off, bury the emotions, move on. But here's the truth. Suppressing emotions doesn't make them disappear. Ignoring pain doesn't heal it. And shutting down isn't strength, mastering your emotions is. True power comes from feeling everything fully, processing it, and then deciding how those emotions will shape you moving forward. When something shakes you to your core, your emotions will be loud. The hurt, the confusion, the anger, the sadness, they will demand your attention. Most people react by either drowning in them or numbing them entirely. But neither path leads to real healing. If you let your emotions control you, you'll act out of impulse, making decisions fueled by pain rather than wisdom. On the other hand, if you suppress them, they don't disappear. They just sit beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to explode. Emotional mastery is about walking the middle path. It's about owning your emotions without being owned by them. Mastery doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you feel fully but respond intentionally. You allow yourself to grieve what was lost. But you don't let that grief define you. You sit with your pain, you acknowledge it, and then you turn it into something powerful. You recognize that emotions are signals, not sentences. Just because you feel abandoned doesn't mean you are abandoned. Just because you feel unworthy doesn't mean you are unworthy. The mistake people make is believing that their emotions are facts rather than fleeting experiences. But once you separate yourself from your emotions, you reclaim your power. The world often glorifies being cold or heartless after a painful experience. People say things like, "I don't care anymore," or "I feel nothing now." But indifference isn't strength. It's just another form of avoidance. Real strength is being able to care without crumbling. It's being able to love without losing yourself. It's being able to look at what hurt you and say, "I see you, I feel you, but you do not control me." That's emotional mastery. When you master your emotions, you don't react, you respond. You don't lash out in anger, you channel that fire into something productive. You don't let sadness consume you, you use it to deepen your understanding of yourself. You don't allow fear to keep you stuck, you acknowledge it and move forward anyway. The goal isn't to become emotionless, it's to become emotionally intelligent. It's to understand that pain can be a teacher, that anger can be transformed into passion, that heartbreak can be the birthplace of your greatest evolution, and the moment you reach that level of mastery, everything changes. You're no longer easily triggered. You don't get pulled into unnecessary drama. You don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone. You become so rooted in your own emotional stability that nothing external can shake you. That's when you know you've won. Not because you've shut down, but because you've leveled up. You're not running from your emotions anymore. You're leading them. And that is what makes you truly unstoppable. Pain has a way of making us believe that we are weak, that we are broken, that we have lost something we can never get back. But what if pain wasn't meant to destroy us? What if it was meant to build us? The difference between those who crumble under pain and those who rise from it isn't luck, it's mindset. Some people let pain define them, while others use it to fuel their greatest transformation. That's the choice. Pain will come, but what you do with it is entirely in your hands. You can let it make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. The most powerful people in the world weren't born strong. They became strong because they learned how to turn pain into power. The first step is understanding that pain is not the enemy. Pain is proof that you cared, that you felt something deeply, that you were invested. And while it may seem unbearable at times, it is also the birthplace of growth. Every great comeback story, every successful person, every legend has one thing in common. They took the worst moments of their lives and transformed them into something extraordinary. Pain is raw energy, and like any energy, it can be redirected. You can either let it consume you, or you can use it to build something unstoppable. When you experience deep pain, you have two choices: dwell on what you lost or focus on what you can create. The people who truly rise are the ones who take their suffering and alchemize it into something meaningful. Instead of replaying the hurt over and over again, they ask themselves, what can I do with this? How can I use this to grow? Maybe it's pouring yourself into your craft, creating something that speaks to your pain but turns it into beauty. Maybe it's pushing yourself to evolve, to become the kind of person who no longer bends under the weight of heartbreak or failure. Maybe it's turning the very thing that broke you into your motivation to succeed. Whatever it is, the goal is to make sure your pain wasn't for nothing. The greatest revenge, the greatest redemption, the greatest transformation comes from refusing to let pain be the final chapter. The people who hurt you, the things that broke you, the moments that made you question yourself, they do not get to define you. What defines you is what you do with all of it. Do you let it hold you back, or do you let it push you forward? Do you let it drown you, or do you use it as the fire that fuels your greatest rise? Most people think strength is about avoiding pain, but real strength is about facing it head on and deciding that it will not control you. It's about looking at the things that hurt you and saying, thank you for the lesson, but you do not get to take my power. It's about turning every scar into a source of wisdom, every loss into a source of motivation, every heartbreak into a deeper understanding of yourself. That's what it means to turn pain into power. It means refusing to stay in the same place. It means taking what was meant to break you and using it to build you. And once you do that, once you shift from suffering to mastery, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. The past has a way of gripping us, holding us hostage in moments that no longer serve us. It whispers reminders of what was lost, what went wrong, what could have been. But the truth is, the past only has power over you if you keep looking back. The way to break free isn't through erasing it or pretending it never happened. It's by living so fully, so boldly, so unapologetically that it no longer matters. When your present becomes more exciting than your past, the past fades naturally. It stops being a weight and instead becomes nothing more than a chapter that led you to where you are now. People spend so much time dwelling on what hurt them, replaying memories like an old song on repeat, as if doing so will somehow change the ending. But the ending doesn't change by revisiting the past. It changes when you create a life that is so incredible, so fulfilling, that you wouldn't go back even if you could. That's the goal. to reach a place where the past is irrelevant, not because you've ignored it, but because you've outgrown it. Living loudly doesn't mean shouting for attention. It doesn't mean proving anything to anyone. It means stepping into your life with such passion, such joy, such confidence that the old version of you, the one who was stuck, who was hurting, who was waiting for closure, no longer exists. You replace the weight of old wounds with the lightness of new experiences. You stop asking, why did this happen? And start asking, what's next? That shift in perspective changes everything. The best way to let go of the past isn't by forcing yourself to forget. It's by filling your life with so much purpose that there's no longer space for regret. Travel to places you've never been. Take risks you were once too afraid to take. Say yes to opportunities that challenge you. Surround yourself with people who inspire you. Build something, whether it's a career, a passion, or just a version of yourself that you're truly proud of. Because when your future is bigger than your history, the past naturally loses its grip. Pain may have shaped you, but it does not have to define you. You were not meant to live in the shadows of what happened. You were meant to evolve, to expand, to become something so powerful, so radiant, that the past becomes nothing more than a stepping stone. Every time you choose to move forward instead of looking back, you reclaim your power. Every time you invest in yourself, instead of dwelling on what's gone, you rewrite your story. One day you'll wake up and realize that the things you used to cry over no longer sting, that the people who once had control over your emotions no longer cross your mind, that the moments you thought you would never recover from are just distant echoes. And it won't be because time healed you, it will be because you healed yourself. You lived so fully, so loudly, that the past had no choice but to fade. And that is the most powerful thing you can do. Life doesn't wait for anyone. No matter how much pain you've endured, no matter how unfair things have been, the world keeps turning. And that's the hardest yet most liberating truth. You have no choice but to keep moving forward. The past cannot be undone, and staying stuck in it will never change what happened. The only thing that matters is what you do next. Growth is a decision. Strength is a decision. Moving forward isn't just about time passing. It's about choosing to rise every single day, even when it feels impossible. People often think healing is about reaching a destination where they no longer feel pain, but healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about learning how to carry it differently. It's about walking forward with scars and all, refusing to let them weigh you down. There will be moments when you want to stop, when the weight of what you've been through makes you question if you can keep going. But the truth is, you are stronger than you think. Every time you keep going, despite the pain, you are proving that your past does not define you. Moving forward doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending that what happened didn't matter. It means refusing to let what broke you keep you broken. It means deciding that your story isn't over, that there is still so much ahead of you that is worth fighting for. You don't heal by standing still. You heal by stepping into new experiences, by allowing yourself to feel joy again, by creating a future that is bigger than your past. The only way out of the darkness is to keep walking towards the light. Most people hold on to pain because they don't know who they are without it. They replay old memories, analyze past conversations, and cling to what was, because the unknown feels terrifying. But real freedom comes when you decide that what's ahead of you is more important than what's behind you. There is a version of you that has already healed, already thrived, already stepped into the life you deserve. The only thing standing between you and that version of yourself is the choice to keep going. You have to stop waiting for closure, stop waiting for an apology, stop waiting for the past to make sense. Some things will never make sense. Some people will never give you what you deserve, and that's okay, because you do not need those things to move forward. You are allowed to outgrow people. You are allowed to move on without an explanation. You are allowed to step into a new chapter, even if no one else understands it. There will be days when the past pulls at you, trying to drag you back into old habits, old thoughts, old versions of yourself. But every time you choose to move forward, you take your power back. Every time you choose growth over comfort, healing over resentment, faith over fear, you prove to yourself that you are unstoppable. Life is always moving, changing, evolving, and you are meant to do the same. The only direction worth going is forward, and once you embrace that, nothing can hold you back.